Good afternoon, YouTube. I'm in Englewood, Ohio, in front of El Toro's and the old Steak and Shake. I guess that still is, I don't know if that's still open, but they closed a lot of them down. But point of this video, one of the highlights of Governor Mike DeWine's press conference yesterday, plans to reopen the state. There is no concrete plans to allow people to dine in restaurants anymore. They basically left that as undetermined. Do not have gatherings of 10 or more people. So in addition to just the poor people that are suffering because of not having a place to sit down and eat, you know, from these soup kitchens, besides just going to a park or sitting on concrete. So, you know, also, you know, this also punishes the working man too. Like, I made a video down by the West 3rd Street, well, the old West 3rd Street bridge site, which they're rebuilding. I mean, imagine those workers right there. Don't you think them and other workers, when they go for their lunch break, that they also, like the homeless, deserve a place that they can sit down and also enjoy their food at, you know, as well? So, you know, this is a serious human rights issue. So as far as I know, you know, with the whole and I can only assume that under the restaurant umbrella is gonna, that probably applies to like gyms and health clubs and rec centers, as well as places like casinos and bingo halls. I could only assume that that stuff is all going to be allowed to reopen at the same time, but it sounds like they're trying really hard to not have people gather any more than 10 or more people in a space at once. And I think they're somewhat afraid of, you know, too many people coming back at once inside restaurants, because I guess they said, well, they were talking about all this blah 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 crap, all how they were gonna ramp up the test and how they'd be able to test like 2,000 or 3,000, you know, more people each week or something like that yesterday. So, you know, this is a serious, you know, human rights violation, you know, when you can't even enjoy a place, when you can't even enjoy your food, you know, and you work hard and and the only place you could really eat your food at, you know, when you're on your lunch break from work, you know. And it's just like the problem with the homeless people not having a place to sit down. What are they supposed to do? Just sit in a hot or cold ass car and eat your food there, or just go to a picnic bench where you don't have anywhere to wash your hands or use the bathroom except just to piss or shit outside? And I mean, I'm not surprised Governor Mike DeWine is doing what he did. I've never disliked DeWine so much per se as a person. I don't think he's a bad person, but I think he's not the direction that Ohio needed to head in with the governor, or politics wise. He's been in I'm 43 and he's been in politics around the time that I've been born at, you know. He's in his early 70s, and he's just not the direction we needed to go. And like what President Trump has talked about, you know, drain the swamp. DeWine is the ultimate swamp creature. He's been in politics, you know, for way too long. When he talked about the need to, you know, drain, you know, us of the, you know, career politicians. I mean, I am going to tell you this much, though, and I do believe you are going to possibly see this, depending on how long they make these restaurants keep the inside of their doors closed, where they don't allow people to dine in, and the gyms and other things. You're going to start seeing some lawsuits eventually, you know, where people are just going to demand that they just freaking reopen stuff. Because there's just, like, the stuff that they were talking about reopening, like offices, you know, on a limited basis, and, you know, manufacturing spaces, That's just not enough. And the infection rate is so low that even, you know, during his press conference, somebody, whatever the reporters, was grilling, you know, the health person about how these numbers are so low and how the state is, you know, being, you know, shut down. And of course they were, you know, tiptoeing around the whole, you know, thing. And it's just a bunch of crap. I mean, nobody is saying that the coronavirus is not real. But, you know, protect the sick and the elderly and the vulnerable. But don't punish the average, you know, healthy adult that's trying to make a living, that's trying to survive out here and to feed their family. Because, I mean, there's been many reports over the last week or two that the unemployment system just is not, you know, working. So again, even if you're out of work, or whether you're homeless or whatever, and you're trying to get back in the workforce, it's hard to do right now with so much stuff being shut down. Hell, you're not even allowed to go to hardly get a new ID or things like that. All that stuff is, you know, shut down. So if you needed like a new ID or birth certificate or social security or card or whatever, that's all shut down. All the services, not just for the poor and the homeless, have been taken away, but for the everyday common man. So how are people supposed to survive, you know, without basic services? I mean, and that's a huge problem. And I just don't think these governors in these states, you know, understand, or they don't seem to care about people who are suffering. Like Georgia reopened their state, and they are allowed, you know, hair salons and restaurants to reopen. And some people were saying, well, if you don't like it, then you don't have to go eat at that restaurant on the inside. And you know what? That's my sentiment too. If you deem there's a risk to you, then don't do it. It's as simple as that, you know. But yeah, I mean, we have a real problem on our hands right now, people. And, you know, government overstepping their boundaries, regardless of whether it's, if you're on the right or left, Democrat, Republican, or whether you're independent or whatever, is just wrong. I mean, there's going to be a lot of talk for a long time about what's deemed an essential business, and also, you know, people's human rights and what their rights are, you know, during a health pandemic like this. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up on this one, people.